Good morning, everybody. Shemos. So, new book. Put your braces away. If you went to shul, if you left your sperm in shul, make sure you change it out for the next volume, your next Rambans, your next Pitzadiks. Next volume, Parshas Shemos. Very exciting Parsha, which still lives with us. So, last Shabbos, learning Pacha Yitzchak. Here we go, Rahudner, with our good friend Dr. Frankel, Chaim Frankel, and talked about that we say every year, and we mention every day, Yetzias Mitzrayim. If we weren't taken out, we'd still be Mitzrayim, and the point is, okay, it's nice to say we'd still be slaves. I don't know, still be slaves of Mitzrayim all these years later. Mitzrayim doesn't have so much of an army. Turn the page. We gotta keep moving. We want to have the wine. We want to have matzah soon. We keep moving. But Rav Hutner says it's a little bit deeper than that. It's the Geula wasn't just for those people, and we remember 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, what took place for them, their miracle. Okay, fantastic. Let's drink some wine, have some matzah. It's still for us. The Geula is still for us. We still have Mitzrayim in us. Every day we have to mention Mitzrayim. Every day we have to think about Mitzrayim, because we're all part of Mitzrayim is in us. We still have this tumah, some of us, stronger than others. We still have to be raised up. We say every day that Hashem lifted us out, us, out of Mitzrayim. Each day we're going through this process where we have the tumah, we have things that are holding us back, we have avdus, we're slaves sometimes to our passions for the wrong things, and we're slaves, and we need geula, and it's only really coming out of it is where we're trying to get to. They left Mitzrayim to get to the Torah, and that's what we're trying to do on a daily basis, to try to leave the filth, this world, try to go a little bit higher, raise our physical to more spiritual existence. Just Mitzrayim by itself, pretty bleak, pretty disastrous, pretty horrible. But when you tell the people, well, the purpose now is to get the Torah, the purpose now is to get better things, it's a little bit different. Avdus is Avdus. You have someone's having a rough time, but after he goes through a rough period, loses a job, for example, a couple years later, he says, you know what, I lost a job and I got new skills because I had to go back to school. I have a better job. Looking back at being fired in a horrible job before, that was the process to get to the right place. So it's a different situation. So yeah, Avdus, having a horrible life, not good. But the purpose is to do better things with our lives, better things spiritually, physically. That's kind of what we're trying to do. And that's really why Mitzrayim is not just their issue and their miracle, their geula. It's us. On a daily basis, we're looking for the geula. We're trying to, on a daily basis, improve and get to better places. Yosef's called a tzaddik. Yosef was a tzaddik before he was in jail. He was a tzaddik in jail and tzaddik after. And that's the lesson really that Yosef is the one to kind of bring over for Ephraim and Menashe to the people that are going to Chutzlars, going to Mitzrayim. The Shvatim, all these people never lived outside really of Eretz Yisrael for their lives, just a little bit. And they're going to spend most of their lives, and they're going to spend generations in Mitzrayim. And the person who look up to is Yosef. Yosef, being a tzaddik, is someone who's consistent, someone who, no matter what the situation is, he can exactly go back to being a tzaddik. Good day, bad day, being consistent and knowing that the future, there's going to be a geula, there'll be light at the end of the tunnel. And the Ardas, that I like to quote from, mentions the same thing with Mordechai. Mordechai Ish Yehudi, also. He was in Som, and he was in fast, and he was davening for the geula. They put him on top of the horse. Haman leads him around. Right afterwards, changes back into his clothes to help people to do tshuva and do tainus. So no matter where you are, no matter what your situation is, to know what your goal is, to know what you're trying to do. And this is most important. The people were in Mitzrayim. How do we treat these Jews? The Jewish problem, how do we do this? We kill them. And Pari understood we can't really threaten them physically. didn't work well years ago when the Shvatim came down and they threatened. The Medrash says that Yehuda threatened to kill the people. The Shvatim were already planning on taking down the whole Mitzrayim by themselves. So Parshas said, you know what? Let's do something better. Let's try to assimilate them into the workforce. Let's try to assimilate them into the life of Mitzrayim, and do kind of an end around, and that'll do the trick. For generations, they were in Goshen. They were separate. They had their own lives, and the goal, Paro wants to get them out of Goshen, spread them around Mitzrayim, and to get them into the workforce. And the Medrash says that it started as paid workers, and then going to Abdus. And that worked. The Jewish people had nothing. They went from the Shvatim, the highest level, pretty much Malachim on this planet, Yaakov, the Shvatim, to zero. No Torah, no Bris Milah, nothing, literally indistinguishable from Goyim, from Mitzrayim. That's kind of this balance, I think, that we have on a regular basis. Do we want to be loved? Do we want to be loved by the non-Jews, but to be welcomed and be part of them? Or are we okay with kind of being separate, hated at times, but keeping our identity? And this actually is apropos, because this Shabbos is literally a few days before the yahrzeit of the Baal hatanya. And why am I talking about the Baal hatanya today? Yahrzeit Chaf Daled, and the story about the Baal hatanya. So the Baal hatanya, I didn't know this. Maybe some Chabad people listening to this know this like the back of their hand. Oh, sure, of course. So Napoleon's taking over the world, and country to country, and they're on the precipice of taking over Russia. They're literally in Russia. And they're machlokes, the people, the tzaddikim, at the time. Do we embrace Napoleon? Do we go against Napoleon? On one hand, Napoleon, each country he went to was creating equality. So every place he was conquering, Jews were coming out of the ghetto, Jews were getting rights. Fantastic. So in Russia, they're thinking, we should daven for Napoleon. And the Baal hatanya says, no, we should daven for the Tsar. And I was like, what? Life is pretty bad. Everyone who's seen Fiddler on the Roof knows that. Life's pretty bad. And the Baal hatanya said, yes, but you don't understand something. Life could be easy, but we're gonna lose Yahadus. It's gonna be Shas Shmad. In Shas Shmad, everything is on the table. The Gemara says the Romans wanted us to change the color of the shoelaces. You got to fight against that. Shoelaces, Shas Shmad. All bets are off. So the Baal hatanya said, no, we should daven for the Tsar. And they had a contest who's going to blow the shofar first. Baal hatanya wakes up early, Rosh Hashanah morning, blows the shofar. So decided that they should all follow the Tsar. And it turns out that actually there were spies. Some of the Chabad people, some of the people became spies. They dressed them up as Hasidim, and they were able to infiltrate some of the planning and some of the movements of Napoleon's armies. I didn't know this either until earlier today. And the Tsar actually gives some land, which is still in the hands of Chabad people in Russia, as a present from 200 years ago. And one of the advice that the Baal hatanya gives directly, or he says Russia should retreat right away when the France comes. You retreat right away, it'll prolong the battle into the winter, and the armies of France will be unable to keep attacking. It will be too cold from the ice, from the snow. And kachaya, they retreat. France actually finds themselves in a lot of trouble, and they lose the battle, and Russia stays, unfortunately, I guess. But the point is, according to Baal hatanya, it's better to kind of be separate and maybe not loved, maybe hated, but keeping your Jewishness, as opposed to letting the doors open up 100% and being assimilated. Then you have nothing. And the point is, the Baal hatanya would say, the point is to, even in rough times, even in times of avdus, even in time of horrible times, if you know that there's a purpose, there's to'elis that gets out, and there's a geula that will come, not just from Mitzrayim, but will come, whether it's Mashiach or geula on a personal level, it'll be geula, then the avdus is terrible, and not only that, but it's actually welcome. To get the Torah, if you have to go through Mitzrayim, it's worth it. And for us living here, Beit Shemesh, we're living in fancy Flatbush, and to go through sometimes rough times, some anti-Semitism, but if the purpose is as a Kura Barzo, we need to kind of be separate. Maybe that'll push us to dam from Mashiach better. It'll push us to maybe be friendlier with ourselves more, reach out to a fellow Jew. Then, not only is it terrible, but perhaps it's needed in this current situation. Shabbat Shalom. A little going out music, Napoleon's March. Shabbat Shalom.